What's up, guys? I'm Joe. Today I'm talking about the new Brian Fallon album, Sleepwalkers. So Brian Fallon is back. This is his second studio album. Probably best known for his work with the band The Gaslight Anthem. They're a band from New Jersey, rock band. One that I've liked for quite some time. They were on a bit of an extended hiatus. I know they're touring again this year on the 59 Sound anniversary. A band I always liked because they captured that kind of Bruce Springsteen, New Jersey sound in a very effective way, while still adding their own kind of rock or punk edge to it. Their music would have that kind of uplifting quality to it of the Springsteen type music, but with heavy guitars, good riff stuff like that. Brian Fallon always being a pretty great and distinct vocalist. He has his own kind of sound, kind of a gritty vocal, similar to Springsteen in some of the delivery. And overall, Fallon has been pretty similar to Springsteen in the way that he tells stories with his lyrics. Which is something I've always appreciated. But like I said, though you definitely hear those sounds coming through, it was never done in like a way that I thought was copying Springsteen or anything like that. The influence can be heard, but it's definitely done in its own kind of way. When Brian Fallon went on to come out with his solo album, Painkillers, it was more of a stripped down approach to the same kind of style, but that album was a lot folkier, a lot more acoustic driven. And while I love that album, Painkillers, this one, Sleepwalkers, the new one, blows it out of the water for me. I absolutely love this album. It just has such a rich sound to it, the album. You hear Fallon playing around with some different musical instrumentation than we're used to with him. Whether it be solo stuff or any side projects or the Gaslight Anthem. Here you're getting a bit more R&B soul influence almost. Hearing some keyboards and organ type stuff, while at the same time kind of boosting up the electric guitar as opposed to the previous record. But to add to the slightly new musical direction, you're just getting a ton of memorable songs. Songs that are just automatically going to stick in your head and stay there. It's crazy, I listened to this album only once, and then on the second listen already, I just found myself remembering all these tracks. And then, third, fourth, fifth listen, it's like, oh yeah, that was a good one, that was a good one, that was a good one. It just kept happening over and over as the album went on. Which usually takes a bunch of listens for me to remember, like maybe deeper cuts in albums, apart from like the big standouts, for like the minor stuff to really stand out. To me, it takes like quite a few listens. But with this album, after one or two listens, the songs are already sticking. If Your Prayers Don't Get to Heaven opens the album, gets things off to a up-tempo, upbeat start. You have a shuffle kind of feel going on with this kind of bouncy guitar riff. Here you're hearing those organs, you're hearing this nice full sound, but at the same time, giving like a raw feel as well. The song offers up a very catchy, very memorable chorus, a nice big uplifting bridge where Fallon, really hits the high notes as he normally does. What I found was interesting about this song, and I don't think I've ever really thought of a song in this way before, is like while it works the way it is, I could also totally hear this as like a slowed down ballad of his. Which is kind of interesting. I just feel like there's something about it. There's something about the chorus that I could also just hear it in a slower, more acoustic maybe setting, and I think that would be pretty cool. Forget Me Not keeps the energy going. You're getting more of that distorted guitar sound, which you're hearing more throughout this album as opposed to the last one. Bluesy riffs, definitely one that just keeps things moving. Next come Wander With Me is where you start to hear things change up a little bit. You have some almost reggae inspired guitar parts going on in the verses. Reminds me of something maybe The Clash would do. Which there are quite a few instances on here where you're actually hearing that kind of UK punk band influence as well, which is pretty cool. Up next, Etta James, the first kind of proper ballad on the album. One that stood out to me on the very first listen, and one I'd probably say is my favorite on the album. This thing just has a massive chorus on it, so well delivered by Fallon. Not only is it a tune that will stick in your head, but it's also one that kind of pulls at the heartstrings, the way the delivery comes. And overall, I really like the message of the song. I interpret it as, finding kind of solace or relief or feeling like a missing part of yourself with music. Which I think is pretty cool. I know he had been through a divorce right around the time that the Gaslight Anthem was starting to simmer down and go on their break, and then he was going to do solo stuff. So I kind of get the impression with this song that he sort of has come to this realization that music can fill a huge gap that was left by that, which I think is pretty cool. And I think it really speaks to the sort of emotional depth and quality of music and shows how much you could really find in it. Another pretty good slower one on here, Proof of Life. It has more of a folkier feel like the last record, more acoustic dominated, but nonetheless, once again, just offering like a very catchy, earwormy type song. I saw the review or comment that said, Brian Fallon has made his 59 sound for his solo career. And I definitely have to say that I would agree. That's definitely a big standout album for the Gaslight Anthem. As I said, they're on the anniversary tour this year, and every song on there, it just like resonates and it sticks in your head. Extremely well done, and I'm definitely like feeling that with this album. My Name Is the Night, another big standout for me. It has this nice bluesy kind of sleazy rock sounding guitar intro, which is pretty cool, and then the delivery and the verses are remind me of Tom Petty. Don't Do Me Like that song. Before going into this, more sped up, but another very uplifting chorus that just really resonates. And right after that, Neptune, another favorite of mine on here. I love that beginning with the sort of electric keyboard or organ on top of the riff going on there, which is pretty cool. It has a nice beat, nice drive to it. The verses have this nice spacious kind of feel to them where the guitar, it's really riding out the chords on here, just picking individually, making a nice full sound behind. A great delivery on this one. Another kind of Springsteen-esque feel to it, the way he kind of croons in that lower register. And again, it just has that sort of storytelling aspect to it that I really like. One I really wasn't expecting, but I think is cool, is the title track, Sleepwalkers. Has a jazzy, bluesy kind of feel to it. A lot more instrumentation going on here. You hear some saxophone. Definitely some trumpet in there, maybe some trombone as well. And, the organs are coming in real high on here. And it just has that kind of jazzy swing to it. Which is great, kind of hearkening to, a Bruce Springsteen Spirit in the Night, or otherwise like a Southside Johnny kind of sound, which is pretty cool. Again, capturing that early Jersey sound in there, which is great. And the album closes off with See You on the Other Side, which is a predominantly acoustic piece, and it does a good job of kind of bringing everything in and ending on a sort of quiet note. But yeah, overall, I'm loving this album. I haven't really been able to stop listening to it. Just a lot of great standout tracks on here. Definitely my favorite of the two solo albums he's done so far. I like the expansion of the sound. I think the added instrumentation leaves things, very full. And, while Painkillers was a departure from the distorted guitar sound of the Gaslight Anthem, I think Sleepwalkers meets in the middle very well by having the guitar. It's there, it's predominantly featured in the mix, but it's going along with, a lot of other instrumentation that's going on. Overall, it makes for a very full, very rich sound, which complements the fantastic songwriting on here. These are just, extremely catchy, hard-hitting songs. They tell a story, they paint a picture. Everything just works so well for me on this one. So I'm feeling a 4.5 out of 5 for this album. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.